Hey all, so I'm going to be teaching a few Onshape tutorials, and I wish I could minimize this. I'm going to be showing you guys some Onshape sketching tricks today. And first, what you're going to want to do is just load up a empty Onshape document, and I'm going to be giving a tutorial. The theme is sketching, so you'll get really good at sketching after this. So, the first thing you're going to want to do is to hide your top and right views. I recommend using one view at a time just so it doesn't get crowded. And click on this View Normal To option, and you will get to view the front view as a straight view without any weird angles, like this. You just want to view it straight. Okay, so I'm going to click on sketch and select the plane that I want to make the sketch in. So in this case, this will be the front plane. Now that I have my sketch visible, I can go ahead and delete my front plane and just continue on using the sketch. So the first element in a sketch that you will use is the line element. So this is used for just making simple lines. Notice how the sketch field grew when I started making my first lines. It will automatically adjust most of the time to fit your project. But when making a line, if I press the shift key, I can start making a line, and notice it's a continuous flow. I don't need to press down and move the cursor. And notice how the regions that are full get shaded in, and I can now select these regions and I can do certain things with these regions in the sketches. So there's different shapes that are used in Onshape. So the first shape is a rectangle here. There's a corner and a center point rectangle. These are pretty straightforward, which is why I'm not going to demonstrate them too much, but you have circles, rectangles, you can have arcs, and an inscribed polygon. So this essentially allows you to draw a polygon, and then you get to choose the size of how many sides it has. So if I have 7 sides, and I can customize its size even later. So, oh, okay. So another thing that you can do is you can draw a point in sketching. So this can be a simple plot, or the point can be strategic. So let's say I want to draw a point that is perpendicular or parallel, I should say, at this point. So I will draw. So if I hover over here, and I move my cursor up, it gives me a straight line and it shows me my path. It lets me know that this point is now parallel or exactly above this line. So this isn't done normally. Like if I just started drawing a line here, because I hovered over this point, Onshape knows I'm interested in drawing it to be even here. But if I were to just start drawing a point, it doesn't always show me the relation to other points. So it's something to keep in mind. But you can input text while I'm here, and you can do this by choosing the font of the text. Hi. You can make it bold, italic, and click yes. And this would then input the text. And you can then shift this text around even after you're done. This can be done to all elements, by the way. All elements can be shifted, shrunken, or moved around even after the sketch is done. So let me just clear the sketch real quick. I'm gonna make a new sketch simply because this one simply has gone too much. But to show you guys continually, this is some stuff you can do with your sketches when you have the basic sketch already done. So I can make a square and a circle and just demonstrate a few things. And I'm going to draw a construction line for the purpose of mirroring my image. So a construction line you would select using this button here. It's a line that is not visible in your actual sketch, However, it can be used to be able to use as a reference for sketching or attaching parts to it, but it's not actually going to be visible or affect the print in any way. So if I want to mirror this image, I would use the mirror button here, select a mirror line. So I would mirror it over here, for example, over this line, and then I would select the entities to be mirrored. So in this case, that could be a circle, this singular line, and this singular line. So this was effectively a mirror image. It was mirrored over this line. You can mirror things over, horizontal line, a regular line, like so. So I'm going to show next the fillet option. So the fillet you would select here, and select a corner, and a fillet, what it lets me do is it lets me round that corner. So there's obviously limits to how far around we can go, but I can choose a radius and then effectively be able to round the corner. So let's just say that's good. And then I can left click and the fillet is confirmed. And I can even customize the radius of the fillet even after I finish. So I can change it that way. And another thing I would like to show is this offset option. So if I want to make something that's just a little bit to the right, like a line, I can choose the line's offset in any direction, and that lets me customize how far the line is. And here, a linear pattern allows you to duplicate parts in a pattern, obviously speaking, but I would select linear pattern, saying that, yeah, linear, select this object, let's say, for the linear pattern. And I get to choose a lot of things. It looks a little overwhelming, but I'm going to go over this. So firstly, you choose how many of these are going to go up. I'll say this number's 2, but I could change it to 3, and that would make us have 3 rows. And what is the distance? So I want this to be a little lower. I'm going to say just 40 is fine. How many of these are going to go? How many columns are going to have? So I'm going to choose 8 columns. And what are the distances between these? So I'm also going to go with 40. And now we have our linear pattern. So rather than spending time drawing each of these circles individually, you can just make a linear pattern and you have this entire section of circles. And you can very easily choose to limit the pattern even to 1. So next, I'm going to demonstrate a circular pattern, which is a little bit similar, but not quite. So I'll use the circle as my example. So this is with the, this is used to create circles that are, or shapes, just basically elements that are going shaped in a circle, going all the way around circumference. So I'm going to say I want 8 of these. And I get to choose the radius of the circle too. I get to choose the radius, how many degrees it goes right here. So there could be 8, but they're only partially going. It could go all the way. I have a lot of control over how I want to do this, but notice Onshape automatically switches it to here, which is when they're all equally distant apart rather than, for example, here. And I can choose the center of my circle. So there's overall a lot of control, and it looks a little bit confusing at times, but I promise it is pretty fun once you get the hang of it. So I'm going to press escape here. I'm going to delete the sketch and make a new one. So, and just quickly demonstrate a drawing that you can make using your knowledge. So let's say I want to draw a traffic light. I can use a corner rectangle here. And something I didn't go over yet was dimensions. So I'll cover that now. But I'm going to make a center point circle, and I don't feel like drawing all 3. So I'm going to use a linear pattern. not here, linear pattern. So I would use circle for my linear pattern, and I want it to head down. So this would be facing this way. 3 is the amount I need. I'm gonna say this distance should be fine. I'll do 30 though, just because I want to be neat. And then there should only be one column. So we're going to keep that one accurate, and we're going to confirm that. So you're probably thinking this looks a little bit weird. So let's use our dimensioning tool and change that. So this dimensioning tool is probably one of the most important things you're going to see. So you get to choose the distance between two parts. So you can choose where you put that number. So I may not want it somewhere like here where you can barely see it. I may want it somewhere a little further away, a little higher, like here. And we're going to make the distance 5 millimeters. And next, I want to choose my circle's diameter, simply because I think these are a little bit large. So right now it's 35. Let's see how it looks when it's 20. That's a little bit better, but this number, I may actually not want it to be 5, because looking at it, see how disproportionately higher these marks are. I don't really like that, so I'm going to delete this dimension. You can do that by clicking and clicking delete dimension, and I'm going to want to do something here. So I'm going to make a construction line in the sketch going from here to here. Escape to make sure that I don't make it attached, and from here to here. I want these to be equally apart. So I don't need the lines anymore. But now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this equals mark. So I'm going to mark this. It's going to be equal to this. So my sketch just went a little bit higher. I'm going to do the exact same thing for my sides. So the side here. Escape. Don't need that part. The side from here, and I want this to be a straight line, so I'm going to redo that. Onshape is usually pretty nice about making things straight, like so. That's pretty interesting. I'm in an arc mode. That might be why. But all right, so to make sure that these lines are parallel or horizontal, I should say, I'm just going to click the horizontal feature here. It looks like they're both horizontal. And I'm going to then use the equal symbol again. So equals this line and this line, and there we go. So now we have a pretty even traffic symbol, but I think it's a little bit tall. So something you can do is you can just go like that. But that's not very optimal because we might have a set dimension that we want it to be. So I'm going to use my dimensioning tool here. So let's do 100, see how that looks first of all. Okay, that does not look bad. So let's keep it 100. And then we'll use this part. This is a little bit wide for my liking. I want it to do 50. There we go. So now we have our traffic light. It's a lot more even than it was before. But I'm going to check if there's anything else I can do. So let's say I want to have it 3D. So we're not going to extrude yet, but what I mean is I will draw it to look as if it is 3D. So I'm going to do something like so. There we go. And I want to draw another line right here. And oh no, this line doesn't touch the point. So what are some things we can do to fix that? So we can move this right here, click on it. There we go. That does touch the point. But what's a way that we can do it and be sure that it does? Because what if it's just a millimeter off? And as I zoom in, I might be able to see that. So one thing you can do is you can use this coincident button. So you would select right here, and notice how this point immediately got shifted. So now we created a coincident, meaning these points have to be touching, and I'm going to do the same thing here. It looks like I did manage to drag it and it was touching, so we're fine on that one. The rest of these points are all touching, so we should be fine that way. But I want this to be, let's say I want this line to be parallel. I'm not really sure if it's straight or not, but I want it to be parallel. And I definitely want these to be parallel just for it to be even. So I'm definitely going to click the parallel button there. And I'm going to do the same thing for this one just because I would like it to be neat. And there we go. So now it's all parallel. So notice when I move this, they all move the same kind. It doesn't let me make them not parallel again. So we kind of get to choose the thickness of our drawing here. I'm going to go, this one should be okay. And then to make sure that these are horizontal, I'm going to do that. And to make sure that these lines are vertical, I can click on that and give them that constraint. And is there anything I want perpendicular? There definitely is. So, for example, this line should be perpendicular to here. And though it already is, I'm just showing you guys for good measure how this stuff works. And we already used the equal point, but let's say we need a midpoint. We would click on here, and then we would click on see another entity, this point. And that just became the midpoint of our new line. But let's undo that because we don't really need a midpoint. And then let's see. So we have symmetric, so we can create some symmetry in our drawings. This is very similar to mirror, so it can be used interchangeably really a lot of the time. And I've already demonstrated something similar. And these are the basics of sketching in Onshape. So that would be my sketch. So if I click select, notice the construction lines are dashed still, but this is our sketch. And I would be able to extrude it, make it a real traffic cone. So I'm going to do that in the next workshop. But thank you all for coming and for listening. See you guys next time.